Hey everyone, my name is Dakota.
And I'm Megan, and this is Flooded and Unfiltered, where we dry it out, break it down, and tell it like it is.
Where we tell you what's happening behind the scenes in water restoration. And since it's almost April, we figured we would talk about rain, because everyone loves April showers.
Until those showers are coming through your ceiling. Today's episode is all about how water damage can be completely unexpected, and honestly, sometimes a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, I think the biggest misconception with homeowners regarding water damage is they think it comes from big events like floods or hurricanes, but in reality, most of the biggest jobs that we have and with water usually start with something pretty small.
Yep, like a tiny little leak that turns into something much more expensive.
Yeah, and let's start with the most common one. A homeowner goes on vacation, they leave, and everything's fine.
Yep, and then bam, day one, supply line under the kitchen sink burst. And then it runs for days.
I've heard that, we've gotten that call so many times that they come back and it's flooded, and I can't imagine that, but they'll come home to warped floors, damaged cabinets, and water that's traveled into multiple rooms.
Yep. And moral of the story, your house should not be running water while you're out on vacation.
Yeah, and this one's wild because it's so tiny. It's like a plastic line behind the refrigerator cracks.
Yep, and then no one notices for days.
Meanwhile, the water's slowly soaking into the flooring, cabinets, subfloor.
Yep, and by the time it's discovered, you're dealing with warped floors and possibly mold.
All that for a glass of ice water.
Yeah. Now let's talk about April specifically, because spring rain brings its own problems. Clogged gutters, roof issues, and poor drainage can cause all this water to enter into your home.
Yeah, and it's not always obvious. Sometimes you can just notice a water stain on your ceiling.
Yep, but behind that could be wet insulation, damaged drywall, and hidden moisture.
So what should homeowners take away from that?
All right, you should check appliances and supply lines regularly. Don't ignore small leaks. Maintain gutters and roof systems. Be cautious when leaving home for extended periods of time, and act quickly if water damage occurs.
Yeah, because usually it's not the big disasters, it's the small ones that often turn into big disasters.
Yep. All right, we've talked about how water damage can happen, and let's just say some of the situations we've seen, you really can't make this stuff up.
Yeah, I know you remember this too, but I remember it from a couple years ago. We had a call for emergency water damage. The entire kitchen and dining room was flooded, and before they left for work that morning, everything was fine. After he tells me all the damage and everything, he lets me know that it was the cat that caused the water damage because they had a touchless, hands-free kitchen sink faucet, and the sink just had to be plugged with the drain, and I'm assuming the cat did it first thing in the morning.
Playing with it and
flooded all day, and I was like, I've never heard this before.
Oh
and I was just blown away, and then I was just sitting there thinking about that cat sitting there all day just watching the water, not my business today. And after I got the phone, I was like, are you kidding me? I couldn't even not believe that.
It's crazy. And we do get all kinds of unexpected calls. Many of them go way beyond just water damage and into some pretty unique specialty situations.
Yeah, and most people, I feel think that we're only a water, fire, mold restoration company, but we also do specialty cleaning services like biohazard and crime scene cleanup, pathogen and virus cleaning, and odor removal. So we often get some wild calls.
Yes, we do. So let's ask some of our friends at Surf Pro what some of the craziest calls that they have received while working at Surf Pro.
Hey Mason, can you tell us about one of the most unusual or craziest calls you've received at Surf Pro?
The one I've had most of recent was a lady who called in who believed that she was having people go into her crawl space and putting drugs into her water system, and that her tub and faucets would bleed out red, and she'd wake up and she'd look at it. Said she had the police come out, test it, they wouldn't touch it. but she was really convinced that someone's coming out to kill her. And so she just wanted to see if we could come out, see if we could test what it is, because she said she kept finding holes being made from her crawl space into the home, and that the same red liquid was being put on her floors. And she thought that it was someone that she knew that was trying to get to her. We sadly never heard back from her. And she had a really old, very exhausted, creeped voice, and spoke very slow. It just made you feel like you were talking to the crypt keeper, and that your soul was being taken into the phone. But we never did hear back from her. But she did call in more than one time, and we've had 2 other people in the office had to talk to her. But after that, we never heard back about whatever happened, or she ever got someone.
Wow, that's definitely unusual. Thank you, Mason. We appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow, that was a little cray-cray. Here's another story from one of our own technicians who have come across a little specialty situation.
What is the craziest call you've been called out to while working at Serpro?
I'd say it's probably the one was a water loss came in a couple years ago. It was a drive-by, and it actually hit a water line and flooded the entire house. I'd say that's probably the craziest one.
Yeah, I remember that loss, and I remember speaking with the adjuster on the phone. I mean, like, I cannot believe that something so, like, how that happened. Like, for a bullet to come inside.
It's such a freak thing.
Literally hitting a pipe just right on that floods the house. I remember looking at the pictures like, I could not believe that.
Out of everything you could hit, it hits one specific pipe.
What are the chances of that happening?
Yeah.
I do remember that one. But for now, this April, enjoy the rain, just not inside your house.
If something does go wrong, knowing what to look for and acting quickly can make all the difference.
Yeah, and remember, water damage does not have to be dramatic to be serious.
Yep. Thanks again for joining in to this week's episode of Flooded and Unfiltered. Happy spring, and don't forget to stay dry.
And unfiltered. We'll see you next week. I bet that's funny.